Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. He's back after a long hiatus. This is Funny Like a Clown podcast. I'm your host, Dennis Wirth, and I really don't have acceptable excuse as to why I haven't been on around here in a while. Other than I'm getting old and I'm getting lazy, I guess. I don't know, but hey, we're here now. We do comedy, man. We review comedians. We give you the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs. This is episode 185, June 4th, 2025. Here to discuss comedian, my buddy, Pauley Shore. As always, today's episode is brought to you by G Vegas Buffalo Sauce. Oh, yes, for the spicy, sweet, savory say that again, for the spicy, sweet, savory tasty game time. There's only one G Vegas official Buffalo Sauce of Joke in the Box Comedy Club. Go to www.jokeinthebox.org. Go green, go fresh, get it shipped right to your door. And I don't know if Pauley Shore, I imagine they got to serve buffalo wings at the Comedy Store, which is his home base. So why not Buffalo Sauce? Pauley Shore, let's do it, man. Pauley Shore, son of Mitzi Shore, owner of what I just mentioned, the Comedy Store. Let's see. Started comedy at age 17, and I guess if your mom owns one of the biggest comedy venues in the world, you're around comedians every day. I guess those become your idols. They become your icons. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to emulate. It's the family business, I guess in the olden days, if your father was a shoemaker, you became a shoemaker. There wasn't no choice, it's not like today where you can do whatever you want, but his family did comedy. That's what he wanted to do. Landed the iconic role on MTV in 1988 as the Weasel. Or whoever did that, man. Now, I gotta be honest, when I first saw him on MTV, I wasn't sure what to make of him. It was like, part of me wanted to punch this guy in the mouth, tell him to shut up, and a part of me wanted to be like him. So it was like, I wasn't really sure what to make of the guy, whether I liked him or didn't like him. But you can't ignore the success that he had. That's for damn sure. And it was one of those like a Gilbert Gottfried thing. It was like when you first listen to Gilbert, he's really irritating. Then after a while, you get it. He's so irritating that you kind of like it. That's kind of like what the Weasel was. It was so irritating. After a while, I kind of started to like it. But I don't know if being son of Mitzi Shore helped him land that role on MTV or not. I mean, I'm sure because I know, television studios, they were in the Comedy Studio. We got to the point where comedians didn't even want to do their best material because they'd see it on TV next week. They were stealing ideas, and they're in there looking for the next big comic. And I guess your mother, she controlled the place. She had connections that every comic probably dreams about having. So I'm sure that's her son. Though I remember her telling Pauley, even though you're my son, okay, the Comedy Store is for the best comics in the world. You're my son, but you're not ready to play here. You go somewhere else. You go somewhere else. You get good. When you're good, you come back here. Then, she turned her own son away. That's how much she loved the Comedy Store and told him, hey, this is for the top comics until you're one. I don't care if you're my son or not. And that's hard love right there, man, because I'll tell you, I did it too. I did it with my son. We raised a generation of spoiled brats. We wanted our kids to have everything we didn't have in life. And we ended up raising a generation of kids who think the whole world owes them something. Well, I got news for you. The whole world don't owe you nothing. You want something, you got to work for it, baby. Let's see. I grew up in Beverly Hills, graduated Beverly Hills High School. His success as the Weasel on MTV led to films we all know him from, like Encino Man, Son-in-Law, In the Army Now, Biodome. And funny fact, he made his comedy debut at the Alley Cat Bistro in Culver City. So, if you're a comedian, you start out doing open mics. And I remember doing some just shitty venues, man, where like 5 people would be there. If you're lucky, 10 people would be there, but only 5 would listen. All the 5 could care less what you were doing. You had to fight for their attention, and it's like, you don't start out in glamorous gigs. I remember I was at one open mic, there was about 5 people there, and some old lady comes in with a brown paper bag, and she's trying to sell us all fish out of a brown paper bag. These are the classy spots you're going to come up on, Not everybody starts at the top, so, hey, Polly, just like the rest of us, had to start there. But, I remember, his mom was so busy at the Comedy Store, sometimes the comics would babysit him, and Sam Kinison, my hero, as you can see the guy behind me if you're watching the video version, he used to babysit Pauley and kind of mentored Pauley in comedy. And helped him create his act and helped him, give him a break. Sam used to let Pauley open some of his sets for him, which, I mean, Sam was an established comic at the time, so, to bring up a little kid and give him that kind of a break, that's a cool thing. I don't know if Sam did it, trying to get in with Mitzi, saying, "Hey, look, I'm taking care of your son," or whatever. I don't know. Rumor had it, if you wanted good stage time at the Comedy Store, you had to sleep with Mitzi. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. That was the rumor, though. And even Pauley, he admits it in some. "You fucked my mom." I know he tells it as jokes. He doesn't hide it. I guess Pauley, he decided, he wanted a character, which, I mean, I remember Andrew Dice Clay, he created the Dice Man. That was only like a 5 minute part of his set, okay? But it became such a popular that it took over his whole act. The entire act became the Dice Man because it became a male chauvinistic pig. And that's what people remembered him for. It was so much popular in the rest of his act that his entire act became it. So Pauley wanted to create a persona. He wanted to be a surfer guy, and he titled him the Weasel, and so that's where, I imagine hanging out there in Hollywood, you're right on the coast there along the ocean, and you see all these surfers. "Hey, dude, what's up, buddy? Hang 10 Hawaiian man," or whatever, I don't know, but he certainly had the character down pat. That was the big catchphrase, "Hey, buddy." I remember for a while, you go to work and everybody, "Hey, buddy," there was a catchy catchphrase, and so he did that on TV from '89 to '94 as a VJ. At the height of his career on MTV, he had his own show called Totally Pauley, where, well, this is a kick in the ass. This guy's like in his 20s. He gets to go hosting spring break parties, okay? So he'd come down and go to spring break parties, all these hot looking chicks, and, "Yeah, I'm on from MTV, I'm going to put you on TV," So, how much was he partying back in the day with all these girls? I have no idea. And yeah, I remember I seen him one time. It was at the Hookie Lao, big Chinese restaurant out in Western Mass, which it's not around anymore. But back in the day, I saw Pauley there, and I guess there was this hot looking blonde in the front lawn, and Pauley was saying, "I don't have a girlfriend right now." And the hot looking blonde, "I'll be your girlfriend." He's like, "Yeah, can I stick it in your bum?" It was so funny. It was just freaking priceless. She didn't know how to respond to that, but. Hey, she wanted to party. I guess all the hot looking chicks want to party with Pauley. So, how much tail he must have got back in the day, I'll never know. But hey, that's what happens. Sometimes I've had a good set in comedy, and girls I didn't think would be interested became interested. It was a mecca to meeting women, okay, because they think you're going to be the next big comedian if you bring them to a show or something like that. Which, hey, I've had some pretty big stuff done in comedy, no doubt about it. Let's see. Guest starred on an episode of King of the Hill, which I know was a popular cartoon back in the day. I can't say I watched it, but I mean, I remember the popularity of it. Problem was his movies started to gross less than his previous movie that he released. So, me and my buddy in Alaska, Nate Thomas, we're big Sam Kinison fans, and we want to see the movie made about Sam Kinison so bad. And, Jim Carrey released Man on the Moon, the movie by Andy Kaufman, and it didn't lose money, but it wasn't a huge money maker. And that showed Hollywood, there's not a lot of money in making films about dead comedians, which killed the Sam Kinison project. And, had it been a big hit, I'm sure they'd have been beating down the doors to make a movie about Sam. But, I mean, these Hollywood producers that put up money make movies, okay, they're not fans like us, okay, because I'd be happy to break even on if I put up the money for a Sam Kinison movie. I'd be happy to lose money as long as it got made. But not these guys. It's a business to them, okay? They're making money. If they're not making money, they're not making movies, okay? So, when your movies start to gross less and less than the previous one, you become an unhot commodity, and, you stop making movies, and, they told Pauley, I guess he said he was too recognizable. I always thought, he always did like the goofy guy, and he always did like comedy movies, and I always thought he should play like a bad guy. He should, like Robin Williams did that. He became so, just everybody knew him for the same character. He had to do a couple movies where he was like this really creepy guy, like you wouldn't expect Robin Williams to be, which, gained him a new audience as a good actor. I always thought Pauley, he should be the villain in some movie, and hey, Pauley, if you're out there watching, I got 2 movies out called The World Needs a New Superhero Part 1 and 2, and I'm going to make Part 3, and I'm looking for a villain. So, hey, you look me up, buddy, if you want to be the villain in my movie. It was my idea, okay? Give me some credit for it. But, hey, me, Pauley, why not? So, let's see. you know, while he was having his big run there, I can tell you he voiced Disney Came Calling. He voiced a Goofy movie in 1995, and its sequel, an extremely goofy movie in 2000. Which, I mean, if Disney Comes Calling, that's like the height of your career right there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, how do you know when you made it as a comic when Disney, one of the top platforms out there, calls up and says, "Hey, we want you." I remember Phil Collins did that. He left Genesis, and I was a big Genesis fan. I don't want to see him leave Genesis, but he went to do some soundtracks for Disney. It's like, how do you say no to Disney, man? I mean, you know, The Lion King, all this stuff they've done. I mean, you can't say no to Disney when they come calling. You know, no matter what you got going on. I remember I wanted to make those movies so bad. And I was doing a TV show called The Comedy Kitchen, and I had, you know, Jimmy Walker, Jackie the Joke Man, Lenny Clark, Steve Sweeney, Stuttering John. I mean, it was two good opportunities. I had to put the movies off for a while, you know, because sometimes you can't pass up good opportunities in this business. You just can't turn them down. Let's see. 1997, he got his own show called Pauley, but only lasted 5 episodes, so that was kind of started the downfall of his career too. He was in a Limp Bizkit video, which, I mean, that's probably comedians. I remember Milton Berle was in a Rat video, and a lot of comedians do music videos like that. Because, you know, it's like comedians, they're fans of musicians, and musicians, they're fans of comedians. Like, you know, we want to do what they do, and they want to do what we do, and basically, you know, you cross over into each other's world for a little bit in a music video like that. Let's see. I remember I can't think of it. I think what is it? Alice in Chains. Nobody could understand their lyrics, and they said they didn't know they had made it big until Weird Al came calling and wanted to parody one of their songs. That was when they realized that they hit the big time when Weird Al came and wanted to do one of their songs there. Let's see. He received Raspberry Awards several times, which, I mean, you know, the Oscars and the Grammys. That's if you're the best height of your the best of the best. And I mean, a Raspberry Award is if you're putting out like shit that nobody likes. I remember Halle Berry, she got a Raspberry Award for her portrayal of Catwoman, which I didn't think it was. I mean, it wasn't a great movie, but I didn't think it was terrible. But it did not get good reviews, and she took it with a grain of salt. She's like, well, I think she said my mom always taught me, you know, take a compliment with grace, and, you know, take negativity with grace too. So she took it gracefully. He was actually up for like the worst actor of the year, and I think he ended up losing to only Sylvester Stallone, I believe, ended up getting it instead of him. So it's not a #2 spot you want to be in, the worst actor of the year. But let's just say his movies, they had a cult following. You either got Pauley or you didn't. And I mean, you know, I remember Star Wars, all the critics said it was a shit movie. Well, hey, what do critics know, right? So fuck the critics. Let's see. So, you know, what do you do, okay, when you're an actor and you want to act and you've made a lot of money and, you know, the movie companies, they quit calling. They don't want to put up the money to make a movie for you anymore. What are you going to do? Either end your career or you do what Pauley did. You put up your own money to make a movie. Did a autobiographical mockumentary of himself in 2005 called Pauly Shore is Dead. He wrote, produced, and directed it, and yes, he put up the money for it. And I remember Brett Michaels of Poison. Like, he wanted to be an actor, and he put up the money to make a film. And he's like, the one thing I learned about filmmaking is when you don't have the money to make a film, you find somebody else's money. When you do have the money to make a film, you find somebody else's money. Okay, you never put up the money to make your own film because it's such a risky business where you're more likely than not to lose money. And hey, Pauly, you know, I always said you can't take your money with you. You know, if you're doing what you love to do, if you lose a bit of money, you know, you go to the casino and lose some money. You could go out drinking and lose some money. So if you put up a little bit of money to make a movie and lose some money, and you're doing what you love to do, that's your entertainment money. You know what I'm saying? So he's made the money. He's got the right to do it. Now I never seen this one or heard about it. You know, I was preparing for this podcast. I looked this one up, but he starred in Adopted, which is a show about him. He moves to Africa and tries to adopt the child, which I don't know if Pauly actually wants to adopt the child out of Africa or not, but I can see the premise of that is genius. I can see that just being hysterical, is going to Africa trying to adopt the kid out there. That had to be a funny show. I don't remember it or watched it, but or heard anything about it. But I love the premise. Absolutely love it. He was on an episode of Alone Together. This was one recently that he did, and I thought this was trying to reinvent himself because everybody said he always looked like Richard Simmons, and nobody ever did a movie about Richard Simmons. So he did a short film about him, entered in some film festivals. I believe it was It was actually the feature at one of the major film festivals that he did, and I remember it got millions of hits on YouTube. I did a short film about Richard Simmons called The Court Jester. I watched it, and Richard Simmons, he said he didn't give any permission for anybody to make a film about him, so don't believe everything you hear. And I think he was worried Pauley was going to make fun of him, okay, and was going to do a negative portrayal. But if you've seen it, it was done with nothing but love, and he did a very good portrayal of it. And they actually talked about making it into a full movie. I don't know. I know what Weird Al Yankovic did that. He put out a trailer for a movie about himself, but the movie was never going to happen. It was just a joke, the trailer was about a movie. But the trailer became so popular that they had to actually make the movie. So I don't know if the Richard Simmons video becomes so popular, they have to make a movie about it. But I mean, that would certainly be quite the direction for Pauley to go to play Richard in a full-length movie. And I know Richard, he recently passed away, and I hope he got to see it and see it was done with love and took it with a grain of salt, kind of like Halle Berry did. Take everything with a grain of salt. Remember Dane Cook coming up? He said, he was the first one to use the internet as like a place, to really make himself into a big star. And he said, you know what? You had a lot of people who love me. I'll take that. If you want to hate me, I'll take that too, because not everybody likes what I do, but I can say even the people who hate me, they're hanging on the edge of the seats to see what I do next. So I think the thing is, if you follow every move that I make, bitch, you're a fan. So there you go. So a lot of fans of Pauley out there. He put out some CDs, comedy CDs back in the day, which, comedy CDs, they were a thing. I mean, I remember just like waiting for your favorite artist to put out a CD. You'd know the date and time. There'd be a line outside the record store. You have to drive out. And you go in, you couldn't wait to buy it. You hop in your car, you'd right in there inside the car in the parking lot. You'd just be listening because you couldn't even wait to get home. I mean, that was the power of putting out a really good CD back in the day, which we've kind of traded it in now. You wait for the next comedy special, and I guess they've given the convenience of you don't have to drive the record store anymore. You can just pay for it right on home on your computer and watch it right there. So, but you lost something and you gained something, okay? We lost CDs, we gained comedy specials, we lost going to the record store, but we gained being able to have the convenience of watching it from your own home. And remember Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, he once said, yeah, okay, I got a lot of money now, and it's cool knowing I can go out and buy everything that I want to buy, but at the same time, I lose the thrill of going into a thrift shop and finding this really great treasure. So he said, you gain one thing, you lose another. So we lost CDs, we gain in-home entertainment. You gain one thing, you lose another. But I mean, you lose that on the artwork. I mean, I think artwork's such an important thing. I remember just opening up the sleeve and pulling out the little piece of paper and opening it up, and there was all kinds of, the lyrics would be there to some stuff, and pictures, and you miss on the artwork. The only you in sequence, because if you see something on the internet, it may not be in the order that the artist wanted you to hear it, and it's probably not making as sense as it would if you heard it in order that they wanted you to hear it. And it was a comedian, they always say, put your second best joke up front, so you're starting off with a laugh, and put your best joke last, so you end off with a laugh. So that's one of the secrets. So, if you're listening to it out of sequence, you may not get the best work up front or at the end. It's a whole new .com day and age, which, if you didn't live in the age of, hard CDs and going to the record store, you're never going to get what you're missing out on. It's nostalgia. CDs Pauley put out, The Future of America, Scraps from the Future, Pink Diddly Diddly, Hollywood, We've Got a Problem, and Crustopolis. So if you can find one of those CDs, they're probably collector's items of this, like most CDs at this point, and you can make some big money on them. Go on eBay, baby. Let's see. So some of the footnotes, I got a kick out of this because, like, if I had done one appearance on any of these shows would be like the highlight of my credit, and they're just footnotes from Pauley. That's how big of a career this guy's had. He was on 21 Jump Street, Married with Children, St. Elsewhere, Fantasy Island, Futurama, Hell's Kitchen, Funny You Should Ask. And, like I said, if I had just done one of those, if I was on Married with Children, I'd get every comedy club. What's your crowd? Married with Children, baby. And to him, it's just a footnote, which shows just how iconic this guy actually was and all that he did. All the CDs, the movies, the TV shows. Yeah, he actually had a show. I think we skipped it over. What it was called, Minding the Store, which it showed him running the Comedy Store because Mitzi, his mom, she passed away. But ironically, she didn't leave it to Pauley, actually, because Pauley, he was busy being a comedian. He didn't have time to run the store. It's actually his brother was the one. I guess he's got control. I mean, Pauley's got, some interest in the Comedy Store, but his brother's got controlling interest. He makes the decisions of what goes down over there. So, but I mean, he's minding the store with his brother. He's just not in charge. Well, his brother is. But I remember, I love that show. I love the behind the scenes looks and stuff like that. Just as a comedian, you wonder, this is what I'm doing to make it. I wonder what they did to make it. And just to go behind the scenes like that, it's just always a thrill for me just to see how people made it. I know, there was a rumor. I thought he actually did it. Come to find out, he only hinted around about it, but he hinted about making a run for president in 2024, which I guess he's got a comedy routine out about it, but he never actually ran for president. Where I know Ron Wade, I know he actually got enough fans to sign enough signatures. He actually ran for president just as a joke, knowing he had no chance of winning whatsoever, and his platform was just this big joke and everything. But it was a comical way to do something, and I guess I would have liked to seen Pauley do it too, but. I almost could have swore I saw back in the day. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he did run for president, but I couldn't find any information about it. Just found that he hinted about doing it. And minding the store, that was in 2010. I don't know how many episodes it ran, but I watched the first few, and I really liked, they were showing comics and how they made it. And I can't remember. They did one guy did a beginning, the now and the ending of the Comedy Store. Well, not the ending, it's not, but I mean. The early days, the middle days, and the days now. And they did a really good job of it. Yeah, I caught it, like I said, I caught it on a website, where you get some, they say bootleg stuff, so I can't say I paid for it, but I mean, I did watch it. But that site got knocked down, but not before I seen it. And I think I watched it one weekend, and I was so impressed with it, I went back and I watched it. It was like 4 or 5 episodes. I watched it all over again. I might have to see if I can find it again, because it was that good of a series, man. So, hey, Pauley Shore, man. So... you got the invite to be in my third movie, The World Needs a New Superhero Part 3, baby. So, hey, contact me, jokeinthebox.org. And, hey, we'll make something happen. Because I know in Pauley Shore is Dead, he actually brought Sam Kinison back from the dead. And I did the same thing, and I did a short film about Sam, where, I did a quick story of his life, kind of like Weird Al did, as a joke. And... in The World Needs a New Superhero Part 2, I brought him back from the dead to give me some advice, kind of like Pauley did too. So, hey, we got the same hero, Sam. Sam's the man. And never after Sam passed, Pauley said on MTV, you can count on me to carry the torch. So, guys like me and Pauley were keeping Sam's memory alive. And, Pauley's an average dude. I remember he was in a pharmacy once. The guy's like, you're Pauley Shore. He's like, yeah, but the best thing you do is just treat me like I'm a normal person. So, which, I mean, I guess, everybody wants to be a star till you become one. And, you can't even walk out your door and they get the paparazzi shoving cameras in your face. It's tough to lead a normal life, I know. I mean, I remember Bon Jovi, they said, they were talking to Michael Jackson and they were telling him, they used to put on fake mustaches and fake sideburns so they could go out in public and not be recognized. And Michael didn't say much about it, and they thought later, he said, because he does the same thing. That's why he didn't say much about it. So, you don't know what it's like to live that lifestyle. Everybody wants, the big mansions and the fast cars, but you don't realize the privacy that you give up, having to do that, You go into your bathroom, take a leak one day, and there's some girl in there waiting for you. That could or could not be a bad thing. I don't know, but, Pauley Shore, man. Let's make it happen. All right, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, if you got a comic and you love them, chances are I've reviewed them on Funny Like a Clown podcast, and get your favorite comic review. Just look me up, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, I'm there, baby. Final Clown Podcast. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Until next time, keep laughing, folks. Laughter is the best medicine. It'll save your life. Good night.